Hey VC, I know it's been almost a month since I uploaded my last video. I guess all I can say is that I have some exciting news I think I'll talk about in my next like full video. And that I just, took some, I wouldn't even call it vacation time, just some time off from even having to worry about uploading videos every week. Not that it's like a chore, and it is weird to say I'm taking a break from my hobby. The thing that I get a lot of entertainment and value out of. But yeah, I just kind of did. But I'm back now. I'll be back to my weekly thing now, and this is a contest entry for Jeff Kempin's 300 subs contest. Congrats, Jeff. I don't know if I had told you yet in a comment, but I think if you've subscribed to me, most likely you already subscribed to Jeff. But if you don't, first of all go and subscribe to Jeff. He has a great channel. He uploads usually multiple times a week, which is cool. Lots of bang for your buck there, and he just knows what he's talking about. He loves the signature genre. I would say is the signature of his channel would be blues or blues rock in general, and he knows a good deal about that. And blues is still kind of a genre that I'm a little bit of a newbie at. So thank you, Jeff, for holding this contest. I think these are some interesting questions, and I've been enjoying people's entries that I've seen so far. So anyway, there's 3 questions here. The first one is, what is your favorite debut album? I was very diplomatic with this. I just went straight down my top 100 list until I found the highest ranked debut album, and this is like, I believe like number 11 or 12 on my list of greatest albums of all time. But it's Television, Marquee Moon, their debut album from I think 77? Yeah. Part of the New York punk scene, CBGB, although I wouldn't call this like straight punk in the dictionary term of punk. It's a little more, not experimental, but just a little weirder, a little artier, maybe in the vein more of like a Talking Heads or Wire or something. And it's weird to say that they were kind of had post-punk leanings, but especially so early in the punk scene. But yeah, a little bit of moodier elements like that. This is definitely a guitar-driven album. If you had never heard this and you love listening to electric guitars, I mean, this is a good one for you, especially in the punk genre, which I know can get a little bit repetitive with all the power chords and everything. But there's some really great playing on here, especially from what's his name, Tom Verlaine, the lead guy there. Great guitar player, and he's got an interesting singing voice as well. And the rest of the band is really tight. Kind of a flawless record. I think this is the perfect 10, especially for the 70s. So that's question 1. Question 2 here is a record from a genre that you wouldn't consider yourself. I forget the exact wording of the question. A record from a genre you don't normally collect, I think is what it was. But I was thinking about this for a while, and I was like, I know the typical answers are like, hip hop and country, and I've been getting into a little bit of country lately, and I wouldn't say I don't like hip hop. I don't know if I necessarily collect a lot of hip hop records. I think I have maybe like 2 or 3. So those were kind of out. Obviously, I like jazz, although again, I would consider myself a little bit of a newbie. I still have a lot to learn in the jazz genre, but I've got a nice little selection going with jazz. And obviously, everything rock related I am very familiar with. So anyway, the only thing I could figure that was left, which when I actually did think of it was awesome, because I only have 2 records in this genre, not including like soundtracks, because those don't really count. But just classical music. So I have here The Planets by Holst, and I don't even know Holst's first name. I don't know, but anyway, the players on here are the Boston Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Steinberg. Any of you classical fans probably know this exact recording. It's on the Deutsche Grammophon label. This is actually a German pressing, weirdly enough. I don't know much about Deutsche Grammophon. I know they're a German record label, but this is actually a German pressing. I don't know if they're all German pressings. I just thought it was interesting to find in a Goodwill in North Texas a couple years ago. So yeah, solid Goodwill pickup. It's pretty minty, and musically it's pretty straightforward classical. I think this is actually pretty influential to John Williams in particular. So if you've never heard this and you like John Williams soundtracks, you know, classic stuff like Star Wars, especially Star Wars, like the first original Star Wars, this is pretty influential towards there. And I don't know much about the composer or really any composers at all besides your typical Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart. But yeah, Holst I think is a pretty big name, and I'm kind of talking about it out of my ass because I don't know what I'm talking about with classical music. So moving on, question 3 is a record that, again, I'm blanking on the exact wording, a record that took you a long time to find, or that you had to hunt and hunt for. There's a couple that came to mind. I interpreted this question as hunting for a good deal for, because sure, you could go online and buy rare records for, you know, big bucks, but I was holding out for this one to find it in a local store for a good deal. You know, I didn't expect to find this for like $1 or anything, but you know, less than market value is what I'll say, and in good condition, obviously. But the one I picked is Loaded by the Velvet Underground. Another one of those just amazing records. This one is free of John Cale, sadly. So, you know, Lou Reed really, this is basically his Lou Reed solo record. His song writing style really shines through on this, and you know, especially the first side, it has a 1-2-3 punch of tracks, starting with the opening, you know, Who Loves the Sun, into Sweet Jane, and Rock and Roll. That might be one of the best 3 song stretches on any record ever, especially in classic rock. But yeah, anyway, I looked for this one for so long, and I think this was a Doc's Records pickup, if I remember right, and they usually have really fair prices on stuff like this. I think I got this for, I want to say either 15 or 20, something like that. And it's not an original, very first pressing. It's on this purple Cotillion label, which I think is maybe a later 70s pressing. But again, just really cool to find in general. You don't see this one too often, original pressings especially, or even older pressings in general. You see the repressed everywhere. And there's actually a cool version I've seen on really cool colored vinyl that kind of matches this smoky illustration on the front. But yeah, original is really cool to have, and it sounds awesome. And this is just an essential. So yeah, that's the contest. I know it's short and sweet. I'll be back really soon with a collection update video. Next Friday, I think that'll be up. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I'll be catching up a lot more on that one, and I'll be catching up on you guys' videos too, and trying to comment more. So yeah, that's it. Take care.